Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back for your new moon in Aries transit reading. The new moon station's exact on April 17th at 7:52 a.m. Eastern Time. And as I record this, it is currently April 4th, 2026. And when I tell you this Aries season already has been prolific, and specifically this last week since the Libra full moon we just moved through, it has been prolific. I have been in the Ides of completion, cycles coming anew, my dreams giving me a lot of revelatory information about exactly 1.5 years ago and 1.5 years into the future from the Libra full moon last year. So it's been a lot of puzzle pieces that I didn't even expect to be revealed coming together in the most brilliant and magical and miraculous and astronomical ways. And I trust that Aries season has been just as revelatory and prolific for you as well. And if not, I promise, come the time of the full moon, or the new moon, excuse me, come the time of the new moon on the 17th, it will be just before we enter Taurus season. And talk about a breath of life that this new moon will represent. We will have seven, count them, seven planets in Aries during this new moon. Of course, we'll have the sun and the moon, which will conjoin Chiron on the new moon. We'll have, by the way, my notes are to the right as always, so that's what I'm looking at over here. But the sun and the moon, which will conjoin Chiron. We'll have Neptune at the early degrees, Saturn at the early degrees. Mars, I believe, will be close to Saturn, but we'll get into all of that in a bit. And Mercury. So again, sun, moon, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron. And then Eris, a minor asteroid, will also be conjoining Chiron and the sun and the moon. A bit of a looser aspect, but still relevant here. And we've been talking about Eris and Chiron as they've conjoined for the last like 3 or 4 full and new moon cycles. So just an energy we're still moving with, but we are past the amplification of that. Chiron has since moved past Eris, so they're not directly on top of each other anymore. And while Chiron is no longer with Eris, during this new moon, the sun and the moon will conjoin Chiron at 26 degrees. Yeah, so Chiron will be at 26 degrees and 41 minutes, and then the sun and the moon will be at 27 degrees and 29 minutes. So a 40-degree orb, or 40-minute orb, less than a single degree. So very impactful here. And it kind of brings us back to a lot of the Chiron energy we have been moving with as Chiron joined up with Eris. And what happened when Chiron and Eris were directly on top of each other, I believe it was for the Pisces new moon. They were within 1 minute of each other, not 1 degree, 1 minute of each other, where Chiron is within 40 minutes of this new moon here. But when Chiron and Eris were 1 minute on top of each other on the Pisces new moon, it was kind of the amplification of that understanding of the foundation needs to be shooketh so that that earthquake can allow that structure to crumble. And what that structure was your old identity, the identity you shaped around yourself to keep yourself safe due to past wounds, past situations, past things that made you feel insecure or unsafe or like you were stuck in survival. Eris shook the foundation of those wounds to say, you no longer need these coping mechanisms. You no longer need to keep yourself in this bubble to feel safe. That was what Eris was doing with Chiron. And so now that the foundation has crumbled since the Pisces new moon, we had the Libra full moon, and now again the Aries new moon on the 17th. Since that foundation has now been crumbled and we have the sun and the new moon coming together. So the sun is illumination, the new moon is darkness. So it's almost like it's putting an amplification on all of the dust particles. We talked a bit about this in the Libra full moon video as well. So go back and watch that if you haven't yet. But the sun is going to amplify all of the dust particles that are now ready to be tended to and cleaned up and sent to the yard, send it to the quarry because we no longer need it. Throw it in the quarry. We genuinely no longer need it. Let the earth take care of it from there. That's what the sun is illuminating. But then the darkness of the moon, and actually the new moon station's exact just after the sun rises, again, 7:52 a.m. Eastern time. So that's, I guess, if you're only on Eastern time. If you're on the West Coast, it'll still be in the dark of night. And if you're somewhere else in the world, it'll be completely different. So take it as you need to. Make it resonate. But again, as the sun is the illumination, the new moon, the darkness of the new moon, taps us into those emotional sides of ourselves that we tend to keep hidden from the world. That the walls that we built from the wounds that we experienced, those walls were put up to protect the deepest, darkest aspects of our emotional body. And now that the sun and the moon are coming together with Chiron, now that the walls have crumbled, there's nowhere else to hide. And what a gift that is. What a gift that is, because now that the foundations of the coping mechanisms and everything you built up around you to keep you in that safe bubble without really ever experiencing anything that the world actually has to offer because you've been scared to because of Chiron, now that that's crumbled, and you're left with the illumination of that inner self that you did keep safe for all of this time, and thank goodness for that. She's what got you here, he is what got you here, that is what got you here. But now the sun is showing us that we really don't need to hide anymore. The sun is bringing light to the darkness of this new moon to show us that those parts that we thought we had to keep safe and secure and guarded up and away from the whole world, they are actually safe out here. And not only are they safe, but they're yearning to experience. That's kind of what this Chiron conjunction with the sun and the new moon in Aries, again, 27 degrees Aries for the sun and the moon, then Chiron's at 26 degrees Aries. So the degrees that have carried the wisdom of all of the Aries story up until that point. So it's just a reminder again that you are safe here. And on top of that conjunction with Chiron, the sun and the moon at 27 degrees Aries will also be making an exact sextile with Psyche, which is at 27 degrees and 14 minutes in Gemini. So yeah, only a 15-minute orb with that one too. Very, very, very tight aspect here. And Psyche in our birth charts represents our soul. It's the seat of our soul. It's the trials and tribulations we go through to discover the soul that exists within the body, to discover the soul that is ourselves. So while the sun and the moon are conjoining Chiron to bring illumination to the fact that we no longer need to hide, sextiling the soul, Psyche, at 27 degrees, what did I say, Gemini? 27 degrees Gemini, which is the communication. It's about Gemini is expression. Gemini is community. It's coming together through expression with your community. But not only that, it's also the twins. It's Castor and Pollux. It's immortality. It's how we can discover immortality through our self-expression. That's where our soul, that's where Psyche is living during this new moon in Aries. Directly sextiling our sun and our moon, which conjoins our Chiron, our deepest wounds. This is a revelatory energy, like I just mentioned before. Aries season has already been revelatory, but if you haven't felt that energy yet, you will be exposed to yourself. And where the Pisces new moon and the Libra full moon was an expose of like the things you really didn't want to look at but were being forced to look at, great, you've looked at them. You've reckoned with them. Now the Aries new moon is a time to bring them into you and integrate them, embody them, become them. Because becoming them means becoming you. That's what this Aries new moon represents. And again, these four planets slash asteroids slash luminaries, technically none of them are even planets, but these four elements of our charts coming together in near perfect aspects. Our sun is our identity and how we show our faces to the world. Our moon is our most internal, deepest emotional being. It's also our value system. Our Chiron is our deepest wounds. And then again, our Psyche is the seat of our soul. All of those coming together in, again, near perfect aspects. This is a mark of destiny. This is a turning point. This is prolific. This is coming into being. This new moon, if we want to look at it not at the Gregorian calendar, but from the lunar cycles, that kind of calendar, this is prolific. This is a turning point. And we're just getting started with these transits. Well, I'm literally just still on my first bullet point right now. Take heed. Oh my gosh. And on top of all of that, we're still on the first bullet point. On top of all of that, so conjunction with Chiron, exact sextile with Psyche, and it's also making an exact square with Psyche's star-crossed lover, Eros, which is at 27 degrees Cancer. Right on top of my Mercury. Love that. Eros is at 27 degrees Cancer. So as we have this heady, spiritual, soulful, revelatory coming into being energy, we also have a bit of tension with Eros, which represents our love. It's Eros is Cupid. Eros is the son of Aphrodite. He is the god that represents love, but more specifically erotic love, and how we show and express erotic love, and how we allow erotic love not to only be in the sexual landscape, but also living erotically, living through our senses, allowing our senses to guide us and infiltrate us in the best way, finding orgasmic scents that just make us go, oh my God, and like have that lust for life, right? That's what Eros represents. But when it's a square, it's a tense aspect. So it's almost asking you to view where in your life you have allowed yourself to be lust driven rather than love driven. Because Eros is both sides of that. Eros isn't just lust, it's also love. It's also deep love and the physical expression of that love. But sometimes physical expression of love can be mistaken for lust and vice versa. So it's this call to action saying, don't allow the tricks of your physical body to overtake the wisdom of the soul. Right? Maybe you'll meet somebody on this day or around that time that you mistake the lust aspect for it for a deep soulful passion, or vice versa. Maybe you'll mistake the deep soulful passion for lust, and it's like it's an opportunity to sort through the weeds of where in yourself you get the two cross contaminated, for lack of a better term. But again, with the square being a tense aspect, it almost brings a grounded quality to everything we're moving with the sun, the moon, Chiron, and Psyche as well. And again, with Psyche and Eros being star-crossed lovers and both having a prominent role in how the sun and the moon are expressing themselves in this new moon, it's also an opportunity for you to bring together all sides of yourself, that divine masculine, that divine feminine, or if you don't like those words, just every aspect of you, your yin and your yang, the black and the white, the light and the dark, whatever, however you want to look at it, it's bringing the aspects of duality within yourself. And while some of those aspects will merge with ease, there's going to be more tense aspects that require you to reflect a little bit more before the integration can actually occur. But through that reflection, you're coming deeper into the seat of your soul. And what a gift that is. What a gift that is. Oh my gosh. And staying in the realm of Aries, we will have Neptune at 2 degrees and 48 minutes, conjoining Mercury at 3 degrees and 24 minutes with only a 36-minute orb. So again, very, very tight conjunction at the early degrees of Aries. And now we're going to call it back again to that Pisces new moon, which have a lot of prolific connections to this Aries new moon as well. But with the Pisces new moon, we had Mercury conjunct our North Node. And in the video that I made for the Pisces new moon, that was an excellent day to speak life. Use the breath of your word, that Mercury communication, to speak life into the visions you see yourself walking towards, into the destiny that you know is meant for you. Even if you're not living it or experiencing it right this moment, that was a day to speak the prophecy into existence, to speak where you're going into existence, to speak where you want to go into existence with Mercury conjunct the North Node. Now, we're shifting ahead. So where we were speaking life into a lofty vision with Mercury conjunct the North Node, we can see the vision. We're not quite there yet, but we're speaking life and our dreams and our destiny to that reality. We're speaking it into existence. Now that the Mercury, now that Mercury is conjoining Neptune with a less than 1 degree orb, this is a time it's asking you to dream bigger. Continue to speak, but as you're speaking, dream bigger. Neptune is our spirituality. It's our dreams. It's how we connect to the collective unconscious. At the same time, it's also disillusionment. So be wary of the words you speak. But Neptune is a mystical planet. In the modern rulership, it rules Pisces, which is the culmination of all of the zodiac signs. Pisces, Neptune, mystical, powerful, spiritual planet. So at the same time, while it's asking you to dream bigger, it's also almost a warning sign to be very mindful of the words you are speaking, not only towards your dreams, but in general. The words you are speaking, and especially the ways you are thinking, especially if doubt creeps in, because Mercury is not only our communication, it's how we organize our mind and our thoughts and how our brains operate, right? So if Mercury is conjoining Neptune, the planet of, yes, spirituality, dreams, visions, all of that, but also disillusionment, that is a day with all of these other happenings going on in terms of coming into unity with yourself on a massive level. Doubt may creep in. And the doubt is the disillusionment here. The doubt represents the illusion. Speaking life into that North Node destiny that you saw during, or you always see, but you spoke life into on that Pisces new moon. There may be doubts as you're telling yourself to dream bigger and speak that bigger dream into existence. There's going to be that little voice that says, what makes you so worthy of that? Why do you think you can do that? Who do you think you are? Why do you think you deserve this? And it's precisely those doubts that will come up as almost like a test again, that where the earth was shaking the foundation, these doubts are kind of like wobbling the foundation. It's making me think of like in engineering classes when they have to build structures and their final project is to like build a structure and they have to hold a weight or textbooks or something on top of it to see if it'll stand. The doubts that are creeping in is the test. It's the test to see if you will withstand the doubts. It's like you are that structure that's been built. Have you built the structure strong enough and with enough self understanding that you know not only are the dreams that you spoke into existence with the North Node, not only are they possible, but they're probable. And now you're being asked to dream bigger, not only because it's possible, but because it's probable. If you can dream it, you truly can do it. That's not just words that are said to kids to help them dream big. It's the truth. If you can envision it, you can achieve it in this lifetime because you cannot see or envision anything that you are not capable of bringing into tangibility. But that Neptune Mercury conjunction, along with allowing you to dream bigger, it's going to amplify those doubts. But if you think about every time any of those doubts come up, it's just another textbook being placed on your structure to make sure that the structure is sound. It's not coming to purposefully knock you down, it's coming to test you. And if that textbook, if those doubts do knock you off of your course, it just means that it's because you still have a little bit of work to do. And that's okay. Thank the gods, thank you, Spirit, for showing me exactly where I need to continue to rebuild that foundation so that it is sturdy. So that next time the doubts come in, I'm not collapsing, but I can withstand them and I can hold them and I can continue walking towards my destiny. We cannot travel the North Node path until we reveal to ourselves everything that's been holding us back, including ourselves, including our doubts. And I found that the things that hold us back the most have nothing to do with our external reality. That's easy. Everything that happens out here is easy. The final test, the final next step, especially in terms of shadow work, the thing that's holding you back from reaching the next thing that's in your life is in here. Every time. Every time. Every time. That's the biggest opponent. And that's the thing. I don't even like saying the word opponent. That's your biggest adversary. Because opponent denotes opposites, and this is still you. Your mind is still part of you, but there are aspects of our minds that have been programmed to doubt, to not believe, to think we're not worthy, to think that we don't deserve it. And it's those aspects of ourselves that have been taught that are the adversaries. So technically, those aspects are not ourselves, and they were planted by some sort of external enemy. But while they're in here, it's because they're simply an adversary. And we can use our adversary to our advantage, again, to see where we need to grow. That's what this Mercury Neptune conjunction is doing as we, again, discover the seat of our soul and have that tension between the lust versus the spiritual and all of that. While all of that's going on, we'll also have doubts coming in. But again, the doubts are to fortify. The doubts are like the fire that's burning the last remnants of what does not belong here. And if you've done a lot of the clearing work, it's just going to be like a brush fire, clear up the brush and then it'll be good to go. If you have not done a lot of the clearing work, it's going to be more dramatic of a fire. But again, it's fortification. Let it happen and don't allow the doubts to take over what you know to be your truth. Period. A word, if I say. Oh, and so that's also making a looser conjunction with Mars. So again, Mercury and Neptune are at 2 degrees, and then we have Mars at 5 degrees and 58 minutes. So like the tail end of the 5 degree mark. So a little bit over 2.5 degree orb with Mercury, I believe. And also, and ultimately, what that is doing with that Mars conjunction is just helping us put action towards those lofty dreams and the bigger dreams that we are envisioning for ourselves. It's helping us put action and make tangible those dreams that we envision. And in regards to the doubts that may be coming up, Mars is helping us put a spark behind our truths. Because Mars isn't just action, it's a planet that moves towards truth. It puts action so it can continue to move towards truth. That's what Mars is. And the doubts are not true. So anytime this doubt comes up, maybe literally get into your body, especially because Mars is in Aries. That's where it belongs. It's in domicile there. So any sort of physical movement you can do, that will vastly help to get you out of the doubts of your mind and feel into the truth of your body. So if you feel like you're being like in a dark cloud of doubts when you're just trying to dream big and believe in yourself and not succumb to the doubts, get into your body. Go on a run, kickbox, dance around your living room, do yoga, whatever you got to do, go swimming. Do something to move your physical body because that's going to help you not only get out of your mind and clear the doubts away, but find clarity within your body of not only what is true for you, but the truth of those bigger dreams that you are now speaking into reality. And it'll help you gain clarity on exactly what those dreams are. What a gift. What a gift, right? I'm going to keep saying it. What a gift. Okay, and moving on to Venus, we will have at 21 degrees and 52 minutes in Taurus. It's in its domicile, but I don't believe it's making any other like big conjunction or not conjunct, big aspects that it's really prominent here. It's not ruling over the sun and the moon like it was with the Libra moon. No, it's not making any huge aspects, but it is inching closer to Uranus. So Venus will be at 21 degrees and 52 minutes of Taurus, and then Uranus is at 29 and 33. And just before, like the tail end of Taurus season. I'll talk about this more in my Taurus season video, but I think it's the last day of Taurus season. Venus and Uranus exactly conjoin one another at 29 degrees and like 54 minutes or something like that, if I remember correctly. Like the last hours of Taurus season before or the sun moves into Taurus. I think Venus moves into Taurus, then the sun moves in, or Venus moves into Gemini, then the sun moves into Gemini, then Uranus moves into Gemini, like one after the other after the other. So again, I'll talk more about that later, but it's almost like this new moon as Venus starts to inch closer and closer. It's within 10 degrees at that point when we're at the Aries new moon. Venus starts to inch closer and closer to Uranus, and that's just going to and that is a callback to what I kind of discussed with Eros and Psyche and the idea of like mistaking lust for passion and soulful love and mistaking passion and soulful love for life, life. Interesting. Yes. What I meant to say, lust. Lust for life. Anyway, so what we can expect with Venus for this new moon, again, is subtle, but just keep an eye out for the ways that lust and love and your value system and the ways you express and find beauty in the world, expect that to come to an unexpected change. Expect it to be flipped on its head, where maybe you're seeing more clearly how you've mistaken lust and love in the past, or maybe you used to find beauty in this thing and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I hate that. Or maybe you used to find something disgusting and then all of a sudden you're like, you see it, you see it, you see it. And it gives you a deeper appreciation for whatever it is, which helps you get a deeper understanding and appreciation for larger qualities and aspects of this life we live. That's really all Venus is playing in this new moon right now, as it inches closer to Uranus. And again, we will talk much more about that in our Taurus season transit reading. So keep an update, keep an eye out. But let's move on to Mars, because this one is having a much more impactful energy here because it's ruling over our sun and our moon in Aries. And it's also making a direct sextile with our Pluto. So Mars is at, again, 5 degrees and 58 minutes in Aries. Pluto is at 5 degrees and 25 minutes in Aquarius. So again, less than a single degree, less than a 30-minute orb, I believe, or 33-minute orb. So hell yeah, angel numbers. And going back to that aspect of using that Mercury-Neptune conjunction to speak your bigger dreams into reality and how Mars helps us put action behind those words. Mars is sextile with Pluto as Mars is loosely conjoining that conjunction over there with Mercury and Neptune. Mars's sextile with Pluto is helping us not only, it's like an alchemical process when Pluto is involved with the action orientation that Mars is allowing us. Because ultimately, if we see our destiny and we're allowing ourselves to actually dream bigger and not succumbing to the doubts that tell us we cannot, but we know the person we are today is not the same person that's living the life of their destiny, Pluto's interaction with Mars is helping us again alchemize this version of ourselves that we are today so we can become the version of ourselves that we are then today. It's helping us become more of what we need to be and put, again, those tangible actions, those small everyday things we can do to become the person we need to be, whether that's establishing a new consistent morning routine or doing more movement throughout your days, just like morning and night. You're making sure you're moving your body just so you can get in your body again. Mars in Aries in its domicile. Movement is going to be a big part of how you gain clarity towards your visions and towards your truth and towards your future and where you're going. So keep that in mind. Get in your body. If you don't know where to go or what to do or how to start, get in your body. Get in your body. And Pluto's relationship with Mars on this new moon, it's going to help with that alchemical transformation. It's going to help you kill off the versions of yourself or the habits that you have or anything that you feel that you are doing or not doing that's holding you back from becoming that version. That sextile with Mars and Pluto is going to help you burn away and let death reign upon what you know is no longer meant for you. When I put my hands down, my cat jumped over there. He said, ooh. And then maybe that's what he's doing too. He's alchemizing in his sleep right now. Who knows? Who knows? But again, with Eris shaking the foundations of Chiron and our wounds, and now that those towers have crumbled and we are exposed to the world, but we're not necessarily scared about being exposed to the world because we know we no longer need to protect ourselves from these conceivable dangers that used to run our lives. Mars and Pluto is helping us take the crumbled foundation and the exposure and the visibility we now have and almost put on a show for an audience of yourself. You are the performer, you are the audience, you are the stage crew, you are the lights that are shining on you, you're also backstage. Like, you are every aspect of this. And that's kind of what this is. It's like It's helping you shed those parts of yourself so you know how to create the structure that you can now maintain to walk the path towards your destiny and what is actually meant for you. And again, as you're going through this alchemical process, there is going to be doubts that ramp up. There's going to be questioning. You're going to wonder if, A, it's even worth it to go towards these dreams you see yourself going towards, or to just go back to business as usual and pretend you didn't see those dreams and you don't need to go after them because who needs fulfillment and joy and happiness anyway? Obviously that's not an option, right? But as those doubts creep in, you'll consider it. You'll definitely consider it. And Pluto is allowing you to not run away from those doubts. Don't rebuild your tower in the face of doubts because you're scared of what the doubts mean about who you are as a person. Use the doubts to fuel your fire. Use the doubts to not only fuel your fire, but to allow that fire to consume you so you can burn down, so you can rise again as the phoenix from the ashes of that fire. That's what that Mars and Pluto sextile conjoining our Mercury Neptune conjunction, that's what that is. This is alchemy. All while, again, your sun and your moon and your Chiron and your Psyche and your Eros are all being activated in other aspects of yourself. I can't emphasize that enough. A lot of transformation. A lot of transformation for this new moon. It's prolific. It's prolific, it's prophecy, it's destiny. It's an opportunity to weave your destiny into reality. So it's no longer just a vision. Take heed, take heed. And at the same time, Saturn is more loosely involved with that sextile between Mars and Pluto as well. Saturn is at 7 degrees and 34 minutes in Aries. Oh, yeah, and the day before this is my direct Saturn return down to the minute. So I'm moving through a lot of stuff, and then we're gonna all collectively be moving through a lot of stuff together. So I love that so much. I talked a little bit more about that in the Aries season reading, I believe. So go check that out if you are interested just in hearing my take on the Saturn return. So far, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. I can't emphasize that enough. I've been loving it here. Saturn and Aries, I've been loving it here. But anyway, that's for another time. As we continue on, again, Saturn is making a looser conjunction to Mars as Mars sextiles that Pluto, which just essentially gives us this opportunity to, again, it's just an emphasis on kind of what I've already said about, you're burning away what isn't you so you can align to the version that is you. And then Saturn's involvement with that makes it it makes it sustainable. It makes it so you can maintain the actions that you begin to put into action today, so that you can make it a part of your lifestyle, so that it's not just like, oh, like a New Year's resolution kind of energy where you're like, oh, this year I'm going to exercise every single day, and you do it every day for 7 days, and you're like, yeah, I'm on top of the world. And then on the 8th day, you're like, oh, I could take a break. And then on the 9th day, you're like, oh. And then on the 10th day, you go back, but you're only half-assing it. Then the 11th day, you're like, I really don't feel like it. And then the 12th day, you're like, well, I already missed 3 days. I lost. It's Saturn makes it the opposite of that energy, where again, it's not this lofty idea. It's not just a vision. It's not an idea. It's not just like a concept, but Saturn helps you make those actions tangible, not only for the short term, but for that long-term regeneration, especially as you're in this process of letting the old self die. Saturn is helping you not only let the old self die, but allow the new self to be reborn and to maintain, to remain. And that's what Saturn's connection in this is doing as well. And then Saturn's also semi-sextiling our North Node, which amplifies that and brings us back to, again, when the North Node and Mercury are conjunct. So Saturn's at 7 degrees Aries, the North Node is at 7 degrees Pisces. So a semi-sextile is a very, very minor aspect because it's a trine, and then half of a trine is a sextile, and then half of a sextile is a semi-sextile. So they're 30 degrees away from each other. So again, very minor aspect, but it's still a harmonious aspect in that respect. So again, we're seeing our visions. The North Node is that destiny-driven purpose. The Saturn is the longevity. So it's just your destiny-driven purpose and your longevity and your discipline are working together here, along with everything else we've already talked about. So are we sensing a theme here? I say that in every single new and full moon reading for the last 2 months, I swear to God. But that's because the planets, the astrology, this whole year is insane for us. Since last year, it's been insane. But the astrology, especially of these big heavy hitter transits like our new and full moons and our eclipses, the stars are aligning quite literally to help us transform and progress. Take heed! Take heed! So let's jump ahead. That's everything in Aries. So we got Neptune, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Chiron, the Sun, and the Moon. We already talked about Venus and a bit about Uranus, but Uranus isn't a huge heavy hitter in this one. And so now we're going to jump down to Cancer. So Jupiter will be at 17 degrees Cancer, and it's not making any direct aspects to any other planets, but the asteroids, which I will get very in depth into at the end of this, but Jupiter's at 17 degrees and 14 minutes Cancer, which will directly trine or near directly trine our Vesta, which will be at 18 degrees and 16 minutes in Pisces. And it will be in conjunct our Hecate, which will be at 18 degrees and 15 minutes Pisces, which again, I'll get into that later. But especially with Jupiter trining Vesta, that's sacred devotion. Vesta is the sacred flame. Vesta is in every household. She's in every fire. She is the hearth. She is the first deity that is given to the, or that is sacrificed to. She's the first one called upon. She is both, she's so powerful and prolific because she doesn't have to do anything to be. She simply is. So it's this aspect of devotion that we don't have to try towards, but it's every time we choose ourselves, every time we crush those doubts, every time we believe in those lofty visions of the future, we are connecting to Vesta. And not only that, we are amplifying that sacred flame within ourselves. So then making a direct trine with Jupiter in Cancer, so two water signs which are already deeply psychic and devotional energies as they stand. Jupiter is growth, it's expansion, it's luck. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So it's amplified growth and expansion and luck. And while luck is typically a neutral thing, you can have good or bad luck. With Vesta and with it in Cancer, this is leaning more towards the good. And it's more than 10 degrees, so that's not conjunct, so we'll skip that. But despite the in conjunct with Hecate, which I think is also a prolific thing in itself, even though they can't technically see each other, but combining that Vesta energy with Jupiter, so Jupiter expanding our sense of devotion and our aspect of being, not doing, but being, becoming. What have we talked about all the way up until this point? That aspect of becoming fully embodied in the totality of who you are. That's what Vesta is bringing. This is devotional. This is creative. This is magical energy that we're working with here. And it also just amplifies that idea that if you are willing and ready to put in the work, there is no dream that's too big. There is no destiny that's too lofty. If you can envision it, this aspect between Jupiter and Vesta is helping you become it, along with everything else we've already talked about up until this point. This is helping you become it. You're not going towards it because you are already it. Are you hearing me? This is wisdom. This is vision. This is recognition. This is magic. Along with everything else we've already talked about, especially on this new moon, if you can see it, not only can you achieve it, you can be it. Take heed. Take heed. And then going back to our in conjunction with Hecate. So again, 17 degrees Cancer for Jupiter, and then 18 degrees Aquarius for Hecate. And Hecate is our goddess of the crossroads. She's the mother of witches, and she's the one you petition under the darkness under the new moon. So while Jupiter and Hecate can't directly see each other in this in conjunction, what they're doing is almost communicating through Vesta. They're playing like indirect telephone. Like, you know, the game of telephone where you whisper down the lane? That's kind of like what's happening here, but it's just between the three of them. And Jupiter is talking to Vesta, who's then delivering the message to Hecate. And Hecate is talking to Vesta, who's delivering the message to Jupiter. Because again, Vesta and Hecate are also semi-sextile, like the North Node and Saturn are currently. So minor aspects, but still very harmonious in that way, where they're working together almost effortlessly without trying, because that is Vesta's game. You know, she doesn't have to try, she just is. And so with Jupiter, the planet of luck and growth and expansion and all of that goodness exalted in Cancer, a harmonious energy as it is, trining Vesta, they're working really well together. Vesta and Hecate are working really well together. And all of the what we've talked about so far is this energy of a crossroads. But we're not even at the crossroads anymore because the decision's already been made. You already know you're going after those dreams because you already spoke them into existence during the Pisces new moon. You already know you're going after your destiny. And what you're doing right now is the alchemy to become who you need to be to walk that path. It's almost like the path up until this point of actual making the decision to go. The path up until this point was like, you could see it, but for some reason there was like a force field. This is the day, and especially with these three interacting with each other, this is the day that you decide, okay, I'm devoting myself not only myself to myself, but I'm devoting myself to this path and this trajectory. I choose this way. And because you are actively and consciously choosing this way, the magical portal will open up for you. And you will be walking with the flame of devotional Vesta at your back the entire time. And that's why you don't feel as vulnerable as you did before once the foundation or the walls of the wounds, the walls you put up to protect yourself from your Chiron wounds. You don't feel as vulnerable anymore, being so exposed and visible to the world because you know you got your protection behind you. You know Vesta's walking with you. Or if not Vesta, if you have another devotional deity that you work with, or you have ancestors that you speak with, or if you don't have, if that's too magical and woo woo for you, just the idea of you having your own back as you walk this path. And you know you have your own back because you have shown yourself. You have made the conscious choice to go, and you are consciously making the choice every single day to be more disciplined so you can become the person you need to be to continue to walk that path to get to that destiny. Because it's not lofty. You're not dreaming too big. And whatever doubts tell you you are, you know those don't belong to you. So every time they come up, you're like, it's like the parents of Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. Let that be the doubts. You can't hear them because you know they don't belong to you, and you're only listening to the voices that tell you, yes, I can, because if I can see it, I can do it, and I can be it. That's what this new moon represents. That's what it represents. We already talked about Saturn and all of our external planets. So yeah, I'm going to end this just kind of talking about the asteroids here because these four asteroids I mentioned, Psyche, Eros, Hecate, and Vesta, I look at those in every single chart that I pull, along with Persephone and Aries usually, and Juno. But they are not, these three aren't making really any big aspects in this chart, so I left them out. And I specifically only kept these four in, which again, Eros and Psyche, the star-crossed lovers, are both sitting at 27 degrees in Gemini and Cancer, semi-sextile one another. Almost exactly. 27 degrees and 14 minutes for Psyche, 27 degrees and 25 minutes for Eros. A 9-minute orb. And then we jump to the north of the chart. We have Vesta, our devotional sacred flame. Magical feminine aspect. Semi-sextile, Hecate, the mother of witches. The feminine archetype of the moon. The goddess of the triple moon. Come on now. And they're even closer. Vesta is at 18 degrees and 16 minutes. And Hecate is at 18 degrees and 15 minutes. That's a 1-minute orb. That's a 1-minute orb. That's how on top of one another Chiron and Eros were for our Pisces new moon. Not 1 degree. 1 minute. You can't get any closer than that unless it was 0 minutes. So I guess you could get closer than that. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. 1-minute orb. They're working together, just as our star-crossed lovers are. So you got the amplified energy of two very magical feminine goddesses of mythology that represent devotion and our willingness to consciously choose the direction we're going, as well as our magic, because Hecate is also the mother of witches. So it's our ability to tap into magic, and she's sharing that space with Pluto. They are not anywhere near conjunct, but sharing the space together in Aquarius, which is the primordial winds, one of the first deities in existence here on Mother Earth was Aquarius. Powerful energy. And Aquarius also amplifies that Aquarian winds of speaking breath and life into what we want to see grow. So Hecate being an Aquarius amplifies that ability to use your word magic. Just saying. And again, working very well with working very well with Vesta. One sign over in Pisces. The only older energy on Mother Earth, other than Aquarius, is Pisces. This is primordial, ancient magic stuff, people. And Vesta, again, is the first deity every sacrifice is dedicated to, because she is the sacred flame. She does nothing and receives everything. She just is. She's omnipresent. And her working with Hecate is just the amplification of the divine feminine aspects reawakening, of the mother goddess coming back into play here. What a gift. And again, Psyche and Eros, the star-crossed lovers, working very well together. In Cancer and Gemini, two very childlike and beautiful signs that love to play and love to communicate and love to be in touch with their emotions and love to just be with either their friends or their loved ones or both. And sometimes they are both. Their friends are their loved ones and their loved ones are their friends. Also working very well together. And again, Jupiter sharing the space with Eros, the North Node sharing the space with Vesta, and Pluto sharing the space with Hecate. Psyche not sharing the space with anybody, but making that direct sextile with our sun and our moon, and a looser sextile to Chiron. There is a faded, F-A-T-E-D, faded energy about this moon cycle. There is a faded energy. And since the new moon is coming after the full moon, our Aries new moon cycle will include our Scorpio full moon. Scorpio is what's hidden. It's the unconscious, or I guess I should say the subconscious. It's the taboo. It's what we don't talk about. The full moon is illumination of all of the things that are usually kept hidden and secret. We're going to talk more about that again in my Pisces or in my Taurus season reading, and then for the Scorpio full moon reading that I will do. And there's really not much else to say. This is the first new moon of the astrological year. And it's starting off with a bang, people. Starting off with a bippity bang, bippity boppity bang, bang, boom. And that bang, bang, boom is just the dynamite blowing up whatever your life used to be. Because whatever your life used to be was not you. It might have been fine. You might have enjoyed it. Could have been cool. But it wasn't you. Not your truth. Not your truth. Collectively speaking, this new moon is throwing dynamite at everything that is not true so that we can align to what's true. To you and to me. And to all of us with glee. Yippee! Uh, that's all I got, though. I got nothing else to say. I could sit here and rhyme for the rest of the time, but not on my dime. All right, seriously, I gotta go. Thank y'all for listening. And seriously, take heed. Take heed. Pay attention leading up to this Aries new moon. Pay attention to revelations. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to your mind. Pay attention to the doubts that come up. Inward and onward, people. Inward and onward. Love y'all. Bye.